Welcome to my cabin studio.
It might sound really funny to say, but my outhouse is usually something where people go, whoa, when they see it. These buildings are all part of my secret forest dream project. Shh. Hey, I'm Jane. I'm a single mom, and I'm not letting that hold me back. I just bought 5 acres of raw land in the Kootenay Rockies where I'm building my dream timber frame home and homestead with a permaculture food forest and even a vacation rental. All of this is so one day, hopefully, my daughter won't need to struggle the way that I did. Come along with me as I create my very own freedom recipe. Today I'm showing you my cabin studio and my very bougie outhouse that I call my throne room. I've been a professional artist for many, many years, and for the last 8 years, I've been a tattoo artist. After working for a whole bunch of different shops, when I finally had the space, I built my own little A-frame cabin so I could host my clients out in the woods. My brother and I, along with a couple friends, built this little structure over the course of a few months, and obviously it's not 100% finished, but it is quite comfy and cozy. Come inside and see.
Welcome to my cabin studio. Come on in. Welcome to my creative space. This is the one spot that's just for me, and as an artist, that's really helpful. Other than the occasional dog barking, it's pretty peaceful. What's really cool about designing all of this myself is I got to pick out where everything went. And I've worked in tattoo shops before where things weren't necessarily put in the most convenient places. I wanted to be able to be working on my client and access both the sink and the storage without interfering with the session at all. I didn't want to be climbing all over each other because it gets really uncomfortable to be like, oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. So what I did is I put everything essential that I needed to access regularly at the back. That way when they come in the front door, they can hang up their coat, drop their purse, and it doesn't interfere with any of my work stuff at all. And I know it's a funny thing to geek out about, but check out my sink. It's so freaking cool. It has this iridescent copper-like glow in it and these swirls. I wish more people could see it because it is epic. And I really love this dark faucet that goes with it as well. You might notice a funny key card behind it. This is actually my Pixar key card. Yes, I used to work at Pixar, and this is how I got in the gate. I keep it behind the counter to just remind me that I can do big things. You might also notice that the light above is purple. Actually, it can be any color I want it to be, which is really fun, and the exterior lights do that as well. Later in the video, I'll show you what it's like in here at night because it's a vibe. And because that light can be changed on an app, I can make it whatever vibe I want. This cabin studio has actually been used as a chill out zone during some music festivals that I've hosted at my place. We've thrown a bunch of pillows down, everybody can just relax and get away from the chaos that music festivals can bring. But we all love that chaos. Also, this is a huge window back here, and I really wanted it to have that feeling of height. Some people will say that this space feels almost like a church or a temple, and I really love that sanctuary feeling. I want it to feel safe, but also epic. You know, we are creating epic shit in here. One of the trickiest things I've ever done is to build these custom doors. Holy, it's super stressful to order a mirror that's cut on such a specific angle because if I was off by a centimeter, it wouldn't have worked out. And then I had to router the frame myself, having never used a router before. I'm super glad it worked out, but I still have to do the other one. I'm not gonna do it until after I move the cabin because I'm gonna have to take this one down. I don't wanna risk breaking the mirror, so I'm gonna take it down, lay it flat, and make sure it arrives safely. Behind the door are all my tattoo supplies. This is one of the most organized spaces in the house because my daughter's not in here. So to have one space that's actually a kid-free zone feels really good. It's a little oasis. Also a necessity are the built-in speakers. I love bass, sometimes DJ here and there. I'll put a link in the description if you want to hear what I play. And I couldn't live without a little womp 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 in this space. The counter is also super cool. It's actually a piece of walnut that I custom cut. I built this whole sink and wardrobe structure with my brother, and he was laughing at me because he's like, okay, what are the measurements? And I was like, well, you know, one shelf is like this, and then another shelf is like this, and then Another shelf is like, it's like this, but I knew in my head, okay, you know, inks, I need a shelf about this big. Tubes in their boxes, I probably should have a shelf about this big. Drop sheets should probably be about like this big. It worked out, so, you know. A super special accent in here is that I put skylights over the tattoo bench. So if someone's lying down on their back, which, you know, happens a lot, they can actually just look out into the sky and the trees. They also kind of double as windows because with the A-frame, you don't really have space on the side for windows. So adding skylights means all 4 sides of this building have light coming through. And it really is necessary, otherwise it might feel really cramped and small in here. I also refinished this chair. This is a chair that I actually sit at when I tattoo, and hopefully you can see it has faux snake skin on it. I think it's from the 1930s. I wish I had a matching pair. I love antiques. I installed the slate flooring and the slate on the walls all by myself. I had a friend help for a few hours, but otherwise I did it. I did not know I was capable of that. My brother and a friend helped install the cedar on the ceiling, but I had pre-cut everything to size, which saved us a ton of time. Eventually, I would like to hang some plants from the collar ties that are holding it all together, but there's actually another plant accent that I want to do first. I also have this very cool pendant light that came from Turkey. And on this side of the room, we have my art. Before tattooing, I went to school for animation, and I actually took a really intense program with a heavy focus on hand-drawn animation and classical fine art. An interesting little story for you is I actually wrote to Disney when I was 12 and I asked, how could I work for you when I grow up? And they actually responded and they told me, well, you're in Canada, you should go to this one school. And I was just like, blinders on, okay, I'm going to that one school. I didn't get in the first try. I had to take a fundamentals program and then reapply. But by the end of the 5 years that I was there, I got to go to Pixar right after graduation. I can honestly say if I didn't have all of that experience, I wouldn't be doing tattoos like this. I'm really grateful to kind of be able to draw anything. And what I love to draw the most is anything organic. So mostly plants and animals, but I also really like architecture, so I like to bring in some of the classic shapes and make up some of my own. I'm a bit of an Art Nouveau nut as well, which you might have noticed from the pants I'm wearing today. I actually sort of designed these. I say sort of because it's a Klimt painting that I put onto a pair of pants, and they're available in my Etsy shop, which I'll link in the description below. Every time I wear them, I feel a little sassy. So while at the moment I have my drawings all over the wall, I actually am going to make this a plant wall. That's why I have these boxes at the bottom, because that's going to be the catchment place for the water. And these gaps in the stone are actually to put some lighting that's going to run all the way up to the ceiling and all the way down, so the plants can actually grow properly. I've tried to put potted plants in these boxes, but they don't make it because this back wall does not get enough natural light. This door behind me is also really cool. If you're ever in Whistler, they have a Rebuild It center where people who are renovating multi-million-dollar mansions are getting rid of some really good things, and they charge really reasonable prices. So I got this solid oak door for $35. I actually stripped it all down, refinished it, and it has gone to 3 houses with me, but now has a permanent spot in the tattoo cabin. I really wanted something that had a window in the middle because I wanted to have as much natural light in here as possible. You might notice that outside of every window, all you can see are plants. I positioned the cabin in a way that when you're inside, the outside world just vanishes. When I move this cabin to the new land, I want it to have the same effect. I think it will. I really, really am planning on it that it will.
The cabin studio also doubles as my workspace for video editing. I used to sit on the couch to edit, but after several months of that, I gained a lot of weight and my body was starting to cramp up and hurt. I love making these videos, so I decided to get a standing desk and walking pad. This channel is also a journey of me recovering from a few hard years in my life. Taking care of my health is a big part of my glow up. After all, I can't achieve these big homestead dreams of mine if I don't have my health. And whenever I need the space to become my tattoo studio again, it might sound really funny to say, but my outhouse is usually something where people go, whoa, when they see it. All of this came to be because one of my friends put a chandelier in her outhouse, and I thought, I have been underestimating the possibilities here. The tour of the throne room is going to take significantly less time than the tour of the cabin because there's only really one thing that happens here. This outhouse was actually the first project that I took the lead on. While I designed the other structures, I did need a lot of input from the experts who could tell me what to do. After those experiences, I felt more confident taking this on, and I'm really happy with how it's going. Again, my life is a construction zone, so this isn't finished yet, but here's what I've done so far. Of course, the main feature is the throne. This chair was actually built in the 1800s, and I found it in an antique shop all on its little lonesome. I doctored it up, made it more suitable for an outhouse. I enclosed the bottom so that everything would be out of sight and the smell would be trapped. Yes, the smell is the very important thing. I also reupholstered this chair by putting the same snakeskin vinyl on it that I have in the cabin studio. I've never seen a chair like this in an outhouse ever. So like I mentioned earlier, my friend's chandelier sparked this whole outhouse upgrade. So I'm gonna put the matching pendant light that I have in the tattoo cabin in here. But I have to wire this whole place up first. What's also really unique about this outhouse is I actually put a sink in. Again, I've never actually seen a hand washing sink in an outhouse, but I figured why not? Why are we not doing these things? Well, I guess because if you had plumbing, you would just put a toilet. Yeah, that's why. The sink isn't actually hooked up yet. I was gonna do a marine sink, like how they have on boats, where it's a foot pump, which is actually what I have in the cabin, but I'm gonna wait until I move everything over to the new land to see what my options are. I also put cedar on the wall in this alcove, similar to how I did in the tattoo cabin, and the reason why it's not everywhere is because I actually wanna hang drapery from the ceiling, like billowing from the ceiling. If you saw my tiny home tour from last week, I did that on the ceiling over my bed, and I would like to do that from here too, and also have it go down all of the walls so you actually feel like you're on a throne. I installed the same slate flooring in here that I have in my cabin studio because I think you can't have a throne room without stone floors. The door is solid cedar, and it's not quite finished yet because I'm not 100% sure on the color, but it came from the same antique shop. I am now friends with the owner of that antique shop. I need to enclose everything because at the moment I still have open areas, which really helps with the smell, but especially if this is going to become a proper washroom, then I'm going to have to close it all up. So maybe I'll put in windows at the back, but I will make the front solid because I want to actually put stone on the facade of the building, which I also want to do for the tiny home, and I also want to do that for the cabin studio as well. I'm also going to install the same cedar siding that I have on the tiny home onto both the throne room and the cabin studio so that everything will match. And my dream timber frame home in the long term is also gonna have the same finishes. It still doesn't seem real. I feel like I'm talking about somebody else's life. Holy. Go after what you want. Learn the skills you need to learn, because if you keep walking in a direction, eventually it'll happen. I don't like to limit myself, and taking on this homestead project has made me realize I have been. It's really cool to be able to dream big again. I am definitely someone who has champagne taste on a shoestring budget, but that's okay. It makes you get creative and learn a lot of skills yourself. This is by far the most unique outhouse I have ever seen. And actually, people have told me since that they've been inspired by what I've built and decided to make their outhouses more inviting. Now, it's been years since I've had a functioning toilet, and I'm thinking if I make enough money with logging, I might actually put in a septic. That might seem so basic, but I've been going without it for so long that I'm actually like, I'm giddy. I'm giddy about the idea of having a flushing toilet. But I also like the idea of the toilet not being inside the tiny home, because in a small space, you might as well be sitting in the bathroom with them while they're going. No thanks. If I'm installing an actual toilet, then I'm gonna have to insulate it in here and heat it in the winter so all the pipes and water don't freeze. If you caught one of my last videos, we have really expensive poops. It's so much money to just have a flushing toilet and have it go away and take care of itself, but it's worth it. Am I right? So these two structures, along with my tiny home, are what I need to move over to the new land. The tiny home is easy enough because it's already on a trailer, so you just hitch it onto a truck and there you go. I'm hoping the throne room's not gonna be that big of a deal because it's so small that maybe we could just like forklift it, lift it up, cut off the legs, move it, put it on the flatbed. But the cabin studio is 16 feet long and over height requirements. Shh. I've talked to a guy who doesn't seem to be nervous about it all, so I'm really hoping that he knows what he's doing. But before I can move any of the structures over there, I need to actually log the land, build a driveway, and have a flat spot to put all of these things. Luckily, I'm hiring a crew to do that. I love driving excavators, but I've only ever operated a mini X, and this is a huge project. So we're gonna bring in the professionals and make sure it's done right. Now all I gotta do is wait for the government to give the okay for logging trucks to be on dirt roads again, and then we're rolling. One of the most important lessons throughout this homestead build is teaching my daughter that women can do anything they want. We don't need to wait for anyone to come save us. I'm hoping that her normal is seeing Mom picking up tools, planting orchards, and constructing her own life. When she's an adult and out in the world on her own, I hope she deeply knows that she is capable of doing the things people try to tell her she can't. When she falls, I hope she gets back up again. We can all do the hard things if we learn the skills and keep our eyes on the prize. And no matter what you do in life, remember to pour love into it.